The next thing that is important is that expect things to get better for you, because they are. See, life is cyclic. You're not, whatever experience you're having right now, it has not come to stay. It has come to pass. Not to stay, just to pass. It's just going through. The biggest challenge is to know what's happening. This is a part of this thing we call life. This too shall pass. And maintaining perspective, putting it in perspective. I was doing a training at a college, and it was a 2-day training during orientation. And in the training that I provide, I'm a motivational speaker, but I conduct processes in personal dynamics, where people begin to go through changes that stimulate the right and left hemisphere of the brain, enable them to see themselves differently. I conducted this particular simulation with these young kids, 17 and 18 years of age, so that they would begin to see how they make decisions and how they would survive in this particular simulation process we gave them. We had them to do it individually and then collectively. Over 30% of them wrote down as their first option, in order to survive, they would commit suicide. First thing they wrote down. Suicide among young people has increased 300%. Over 5,000 will successfully take their lives this year. Why? Why did they do that? I said, I was so shocked. I said, what do you mean? Well, at least we would not suffer. And then they had the nerve to write down all of the other things they were going to do after they committed suicide. I said, listen, Kadumbo. No, when you come up with a permanent solution for a temporary problem, that's it. Game's over. That's it. You're not going to do anything. Anybody wrote suicide at the top, you can put your pencil down. See, a lot of us, because of our limited vision of ourselves, a lot of us who begin to focus on problems and enable them to overwhelm us, we begin to think that we have no options. We begin to believe that there's no way out. Repeat after me, there's always a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. Shake somebody's hand on your right and left and say, I'm unstoppable. You've got to make those kind of declarations to yourself. I'm unstoppable. This will not get me down. And if I get knocked down, I'm going to be like Leo Pascal. You said you're going to have some low moments in life, but when you do, you will have high lows when you work on yourself. What are some of those things that you can do during this period of time? Go for walks. Do some things for you. Just go for a stroll so you can engage in some reflective thinking on life, on yourself, looking and enjoying the universe, smelling the roses along the way. Listen to upbeat music, music that inspires you. I have oldie but goodies. I have strategies that I engage in to recharge my batteries. I'm preparing for that because I know things are going to happen that I cannot anticipate. A very good friend of mine died the other day. I had a program for myself. I have books that I read that inspire me, tapes that I listen to that fire me up. Because you're going to have sometimes low moments when you won't want to get out of bed. You just want to stay there. At times you won't want to come out the house. At times you'll be feeling bad and don't know why. What's wrong? I don't know. Just leave me alone. Why did that happen? I don't know. It's called life. The other thing is, take full responsibility for your life. Accept where you are and the responsibility that you're going to take yourself where you want to go. Someone said we have two primary choices in life. We can either accept conditions as they exist, or we can take the responsibility to change them. See, a lot of people want to exempt themselves from taking responsibility. All they want to do is talk about the problem. Every time you see them, they'll tell you their story over and over and over and over again. No, no. You want to take responsibility for your life. I got me here, I can get me out of this. And I'm getting out. I'm not going to be a volunteer victim. George Bernard Shaw said there are two kinds of people in life. You know, he said those that make things happen, those that watch things happen, and those that don't know what happened. And he said the people that get along in this life look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they make them. They create them. So part of beginning to get unstuck, you've got to decide that the behavior pattern that you have adopted doesn't work for you. You've got to change your strategies, and changing your strategy means reinventing your life, recreating you, and you have the power to do that. You can decide that you're going to change, that you're not going to be a wimp. You can decide that you're going to stand up to life. You can decide that I'm going to live each day as if it were my last. You have the power to make that decision. You can decide I'm going to work on myself and develop myself. I'm going to empower me. And all of these things that are happening to me right now, they're just temporary inconveniences. They're not stronger than I am. I'm in charge here. Next thing is separate what you do from who you are. That's what the guilt trap is about. See, a lot of folk won't let you forget what you used to do or what you have done, what mistakes you've made. All of us have made some mistakes in life. All of us have done some things that if we had them to do over again, we wouldn't do it again. There are a lot of things that if I had it to do over again, if I knew then what I know now, I would have done it differently. Well, it didn't happen that way. And that's what you call life. I didn't do it like that. Oh, you don't want me to live that down, huh? You want to keep on putting that in my face about what I did. Guess what? I'm not interested. That's what I did then. Won't do it today, so you are picking on an innocent man. Hello. So as you're in the process of reinventing your life, write a description of the kind of person that you want to be. What are the things that you must overcome? What qualities about your personality you know that you're going to have to change because those particular characteristics are liabilities to you? What are your assets? What are your strong points? Look at and evaluating yourself to make that determination. Other thing is that in order to get out of a rut, we need some coaching. Find some trusted critics. People that you know care about you and love you. So there's some things that keeps us from growing and getting out of ruts. Number one, we identify with feedback. We take it personal when someone wants to give us some feedback on where we are falling short and tell us about our blind spots. We want to have everything being positive about us. We're not perfect. It hurts. I have a friend who's a trusted critic. I don't like him, but I love him. He doesn't tell me the things I want to hear. He tells me what I need to hear so I can grow. It hurts. It hurts when he put me on the hot seat. I can't stand it. But that's the only way that I can grow. And I'm glad that he loves me enough to risk our friendship to tell me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. Get a support group, somebody that you can talk to. People who perhaps might have a similar problem. Support groups are very powerful, that you can share some of the challenges that you're going through. And it might be a situation where one person can give you an idea of how they handle that situation and create an opening for you. Begin to stimulate some possibilities in your mind on how you can resolve the problem. We can't grow by ourselves. As I mentioned before, we grow from people and projects. The other thing is about life, when things happen to you, when you permit things to use you, you can't change the past, but you can interpret. You can reinterpret how you see it. For years, I was going around with a heavy load on my shoulders, feeling bad because I was adopted, doing interviews for adoption agencies and foster homes. And I was on television once, and I told these people in this particular interview that I was given away, my twin brother and I, when we were 6 weeks of age. A friend of mine, fortunately, was listening to the program. And she said, "Les, I'd like to have lunch with you." And so I went over to see her. She said, when a woman carries a baby for 9 months, feeling that life movement in her, it's automatic and natural for her to learn to love that baby. to expect it to come here when she bears the pain to bring it into the world. Your mother, Mamie Brown, when she came in to adopt you guys, she didn't go through that process. She looked at whoever your biological mother was and said, I'll take him. You weren't given away less. You were chosen with love. Jim Rohn asked this question. Look at the people in your life and ask the question, what is this relationship doing to me? See, in order for you to go to the next level, there are some people you need to let go. Let us say together, let go, or be dragged. There's some people, because of their negativity, they're emotional vampires. They will drain you. You want to be around people that you can learn from, that you can grow from. Dr. Dennis Kimball out of Atlanta said, if you're the smartest one in your group, you need to get a new group. Les, can I change them? No. It's a full-time job changing yourself. There's some people that's comfortable being negative, comfortable being a volunteer victim. There's some people that's so negative they can walk into a dark room and begin to develop. Oh, behave. My medication wearing off now. When you're talking about earning more money, you got to be serious. One sickness can wipe out a fortune. 95% of the people who filed bankruptcy last year did so because of medical expenses. People say money won't make you happy, but everybody want to find out for themselves. A friend of mine, Rita Davenport, said money ain't important, but it's right up there with oxygen. And let me tell you something, fellas, even if you're as homeless as I am, you got some money, women will find something cute on you. Oh, he's got earlobes like Tom Cruise. He's got a walk like Denzel Washington. I used to be so broke, I'd walk past a bank and trip the alarm. Creditors would call the house and my children would answer the phone and say, my daddy say he ain't home. And sometimes they would catch me on the phone. May I speak to Les Brown, please? Sorry, but he's not here. You sound like Les Brown. Don't you go there, big boy. Oh my God. Red Fox said money can't buy you happiness, but it can make a big down payment. Oh. This thing called life. Here's something else. Write this down. You're going to fail your way to success. There are people who look promising. They're going to disappoint you, hurt your feelings. There are people who should be there to encourage you, to motivate you. They're going to be the #1 members of the discouragement club. Before things get better for you, they're going to get real bad. When you have a dream, think it not strange that you'll face the fiery furnaces of this world. You will, not you might, you will have tribulations. How many of you know that's true? Raise your hands, please. Things are going to happen to you. And don't complain. Don't go around telling everybody. 80% don't care. 20% glad it's you. Suck it up and keep on prospecting. And make it happen. Life is happening to everybody. Everybody, let us say together, leap and grow your wings on the way down. See, in order to control your destiny, you've got to be a risk taker. You got to be willing to risk people talking about you. You got to be willing to risk someone saying no. You got to be willing to fail again and again and again. You're different. You're an entrepreneur. You're strange. You're not like everybody else. We live in a world where we're told more about our limitations rather than our potential, and so most people just can't see themselves doing better. But you're different. You see some things they can't see.
And I encourage you, every one of you in this room right now, you're here for a reason. How many of you know people who should be here? Raise your hands, please. Yes. But you know what? They're in their rightful place. Their rightful place is where their thoughts have brought them. Their true place is where their thoughts can take them. Everybody is in their rightful place. Here's something else. Seek out positive information. I want you to write this down. My Facebook page is brown.less. Every day we post a positive message there. Every day at brown.less. Because you're in this room, I want you to write this down. Because we're going to send you, we're going to do something called presentation power. And you're going to get a chance to view some videos that will give you some directions. But more importantly, I'll tell you what I'm going to send you. I'm going to send you 7 power strategies of how to be a powerful storyteller. So email me at yes@lesbrown.com and say, send me the 7 principles. Mention that you were at this convention. We'll send that to you free. It will give you a guideline how to tell your story. When I started off this presentation, I started off telling my story. I was born in the poor section of Miami, Florida, in Liberty City. Born in an abandoned building with a twin brother. Do you remember I told you that? My mother worked on Miami Beach as a domestic worker, making up beds, cooking for families. Remember I told you that? See, your story is your power. How many of you have gone through some things? Raise your hands, please. How many of you have experienced some things in your life? Raise your hands, please. How many of you have periods in your life like me where you're temporarily insane? Raise your hand, please. Your story. A presentation power will tell you how to tell your story. I've given lectures at Harvard, Yale, spoken around the world, telling my story. You got a story too. Here's what the power of the story does and why it's important in your presentation and building your organization and why it's going to give you the upper hand and how to recruit people and how many of you like to get A players? Raise your hands, please. Good. Here's what your story does. Write this down. Distract. See, how people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. When you are presenting one-on-one or a small group or in a large group, when you tell your story, you are creating an interruption. When you're telling your story about the business of being on a path of creating financial independence, you're interrupting their story, what psychologists call the self-explanatory style. So distract. Let us say together, distract. Here's the other one. Say dispute. When you are going through your presentation, and we're going to teach you how to do this, you're dismantling their limited belief system where they've been programmed to believe only in having a job, the journey of the broke, where they're miserable. They go to work, where they pay them just enough to keep them from quitting, and they work just hard enough to keep from getting fired. That's what you call mixed emotions. Seeing somebody you hate drive off a cliff in your car. You're glad they're gone, but not in my car. Can you feel me up in here? Can you feel me? People go to jobs that they hate, 87% of Americans, and guess what? And they pray they don't get fired. That's no way to live. That's why you're here. You just said, you know what? No, I ain't going out like this. You know, I'm telling you. And people think you're crazy, and you are. You got to be crazy today. You got to be out of your mind. My favorite book said, let that mind be in you. You got to have another mind in you that says, I got this. This is my life. I own this. I'm going to call the shots here. Nobody's going to tell me how much I'm worth, what time I can take a lunch break. I'm not going to anybody and ask for permission to take my family on vacation. No, I got this. I've got a vehicle that can take me to another place. That's why you said yes. Give yourselves a round of applause. Mr. Washington said, Mr. Brown, transform your mindset. Number 2, he said, practice. Let us say together, OQP. Write this down. Only quality people. Only quality people. You don't want everybody in your organization. You want only quality people. Here's something else he said. Mr. Brown, yes, sir. And this is what we're going to do in this presentation. It's called presentation power. He said, develop your communication skills, how you present yourself, how you sell yourself. He said, once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. And then he said something else. Let us say together with conviction. I want everybody to join me on this. Let us say together, you got to be hungry. Say it again, you got to be hungry. He said, what do you want to do with your life, young man? I said, sir, I want to buy my mother a home. He said, you got to be hungry. I said, what do you mean by that? He said, people that are hungry are willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. He said, people that are hungry are relentless. People that are hungry are unstoppable. People that are hungry refuse to give up. People that are hungry, no excuse is acceptable for not making their dream become a reality. I said, I'm hungry, sir. I'm hungry to take care of my mother. I'm hungry to make her proud. I told my mother that she'll never have to pay another bill once I turn 18. And she hasn't, Mr. Washington. I'm hungry, sir, for another life. I'm not going to die here in Liberty City. I want to travel, sir. I want to see the world. He said, you can do that, sir. He said, practice OQP, only quality people. If you run around with 9 broke people, he said, I guarantee you, you'll become number 10. He said, work on your mindset. Listen to these audio programs I'm giving you every day. Lynn Turner, Dare to Be Great, every day. Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, Jim Rohn, every day. Zig Ziglar, program your mind, Mr. Brown. He said, how do you plan to buy your mother a home? I said, sir, I want to become a disc jockey. He said, is that right? I said, yes, sir. He said, good. He said, work on your mind. Here are my car keys. What do you want me to do with this? At lunchtime, go in my car, turn on the radio, and listen to Paul Harvey. Why? He's the world's greatest communicator. You want to be successful? Yes, sir. He says, listen and study people that are great communicators. That's the key to controlling your future. I said, but that's at lunchtime. In order to be successful, you got to be hungry. You got to be willing to do the things today others won't do. Are you willing to do that to be successful? To buy your mother a home? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's what you have done. You've got some goals that you want to achieve. There's some things that you want to do. And you've said to yourself, I'm willing to face the no's. You said to yourself, I'm willing for people to laugh at me. You said to yourself, I'm willing to gut this out. You said to yourself, I'm willing to make this happen. You said to yourself, I'm going to do whatever it takes to build this business. I can do it. If anybody's ever done it at any point in time in history, then what's possible for one, it's possible for me, and I'm going to do it. That's what you said to yourself. He said, listen to Paul Harvey every day. So you want to be a disc jockey? Yes, sir. He said, I want you to create your format. What will your personality be? What style are you going to have? I said, wait a minute, sir. I want to be a disc jockey, but I don't have a job yet. And then he said something. He said, it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. He said, you got to expect to become successful. Let us say together, I expect to win. I expect to increase my recruitment. I expect to be a great presenter. I expect to become a millionaire. It's my time. It's possible. It's necessary. It's me. It's hard. It's worth it. Nietzsche said, if you know the why for living, you can endure almost anyhow. Your homework assignment, and write down 5 reasons that will make it worth it for you. So when the tough times come, and they're going to come, when you feel like You can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and that's a part of the process. Your reasons will be your rod and staff to comfort you, to take you through the storms of life. He told me, you want to be a disc jockey? Practice on your communication skills. Visualize yourself talking to thousands of people, Mr. Brown. See yourself on stage presenting. Be willing to invest in yourself. Warren Buffett was being interviewed by a financial analyst on CNN. He said, what's the most important investment a person can make today? Warren Buffett, a billionaire, has billions of dollars in the stock market, billions of dollars in real estate. He looked at the reporter and said, the most important investment you can make is in yourself. The reason you're here, the reason you invested your money, your time and energy in transportation and the room and all the costs in a so-called tough economy, because you have the mindset of a billionaire. You know, investing in yourself, you are your most treasured asset. Give yourselves a round of applause. Come on, bring energy level up.
I want to talk about that, writing a new chapter. So you've talked about the little voice that people have, the need to create quiet space to hear that. Combine that with the notion of the culture sort of chipping away at people, and whether it's based on race and oppression, or whether it's just the school system teaching you to be a good cog in the machine, or whatever other things people have to fight against. How can people that are listening to this now, especially if they're an adult that's got all those labels put on them, that's had their creativity squished, what process do they do to hear the voice? What sort of communion can they do to create that imagination that's going to allow them to get out of that and move towards something new?
That's the reason why you designed this program, you and your team, for them to do that they have to expose themselves to something that will give them a different vision of themselves. And in addition to that, they have to put themselves in a community of what I call OQP, only quality people. A gentleman who dramatically transformed my life, I was a junior at Booker T. Washington High School in Miami, Florida, and I went in his class looking for another friend, and he said, go to the board and work this problem out for me. I said, sir, I can't do that. He said, why not? I said, I'm not one of your students. He said, do it anyhow. And the other kids started laughing, saying, he's Leslie, he's DT. And he said, what's DT? His brother is smart, but he's the dumb twin. And I said, I am, sir. And he came from behind his desk and he pointed at me and said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And he taught me three things. He said, if you want to become successful in life, young man, he said, number one, you got to change your mindset. He said, you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. Number two, practice OQP, only quality people. You earn within $2,000 to $3,000 of your closest friends. I found that out. I left all my broke friends. I said, y'all got to go. Because I used to be so broke, I'd pass a bank and trip the alarm, And the third thing he said, develop your communication skills, because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. He said, those are three major things that you want to work on that will liberate you from living in Liberty City, living in poverty in Overtown. It will help to escape out of where you are right now, because I see you watching me and I know you want more. I can see the hunger in your eyes. That's why my book is about to come out called You Gotta Be Hungry.
I love that notion. I love that title. So how do people get hungry?
You get hungry by finding something that's you. I believe that all of us are born unique, but most of us die copies. You got to find out what is it that turns you on, what resonates with you. One of the things that I realized and what allowed me to become successful as a speaker, the speaking industry has been hijacked by people who speak to sell, and it's okay to do that and make money. I speak to change lives because somebody spoke and changed my life. So this is my passion. This is my drive. This is something that I feel in my heart. And so the key to that hunger-driven life is a heart-centered life. I didn't do what I'm doing for years because of my programming, because of the culture in which I was raised in. I would see other people with degrees and PhDs and MBAs and credentials I don't have, and I convinced myself I couldn't do it. But Mr. Washington, on that day, we became friends, and he taught me not only someone's opinion of you does not have to determine your reality. He said that you have to work on yourself and you have to have an unstoppable attitude, and no excuse is acceptable, and you got to make it a priority, a non-negotiable in your life, and hold a constant vision of what it is you want to achieve. See it accomplished and go all out. Find a way to win. In spite of the setbacks, in spite of the disappointments, in spite of your failures. I tell people when I'm giving presentations, you will fail your way to success. I have a saying, as life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. And so those experiences of going after goals that's beyond your comfort zone, and having relationships that will challenge you, and surrounding yourself with coaches and mentors who can take you to a place within yourself that you can't go by yourself, because you can't read the label when you're locked in the box. And so those experiences, they challenge you to go to that next level and continue to move forward in your life, doing new and exciting things that eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what God has in store for you when you live a heart-centered life, deciding that you're going to live a life that will outlive you. You're going to live a life that counts, a life that will build a legacy and change the planet. You know, Horace Mann said, we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. And so my goal is to make a major contribution to humankind. I am a father of 10, 5 boys and 5 girls. So I'm suing the people who came up with the rhythm method. The rhythm method don't work. You know, I've got rhythm, but the rhythm method does not work, okay? And I have 15 grandchildren and 4 great-grandsons. And so every day when I get up, my mindset is, what is it that I can do to touch and impact somebody's life today? What is it? What does that look like? Like seeing you, I'm so excited. I started doing push-ups. I said, well, I'm going to go on. He's going to see that I got muscles too.
Man, what you've done with your mental muscles is so extraordinary. I don't know that you need to worry about anything else.
Take responsibility for your life. Take responsibility for your life. Now that's very important. Remember what Bishop said last night about Adam? Adam, when God asked him what happened, Adam did not want to take responsibility for what he had done. Men have always tried to escape that. Now, you know that we believe a lot in marches. Let me tell you something. Here's a march I like to enroll you on. I want 1 million men to march to a mailbox to give support payments. Just drop some support payments in the mailbox to children that you have helped to create, that you have been irresponsible and you're not taking care of. Don't give that money to the airlines or the bus stations or the hotels. Send that money to those mothers that are still there dealing with and raising those children. Own your stuff. Come here, owner. Where's my daughter? Come here, owner. I got a call 5 years ago from this person here. I happened to be at the office late at night. See, I believe in being open and being honest with you. And the call was, tell them what you said to me.
I said, if you had a child in this world that you were unaware of, a descendant in this world that you were unaware of, would you or would you not want to know?
What did I say?
You said, yes, I would want to know.
So I told her I wanted to know. And
I said, send me some pictures. She sent me some pictures overnight. I saw this smile. I said, that's mine. Sent one of my sons to pick her up. He drove her from Columbus to Detroit. He came in first, said, Daddy, my sister's right behind me. And we've been together ever since. And I'm not ashamed of her. I can't unscramble these eggs and don't want to. But I have to take responsibility that this is my daughter. And I take care of my daughter. Ain't she gorgeous? I'm trying to fatten her up. She got little legs. I'm trying to find a husband while we're here. Got legs so small you can sue him for non-support. That's why she wearing pants. But, okay, thank you, baby. Give her a round of applause, all right? Now, so the reason I'm telling you that we got to start owning our stuff as men. Don't make no big deal. Can you imagine what will happen if 1 million men decide to go to the mailbox and just unexpectedly drop just what you can? Don't have to have a return address in case they're looking for you. You don't have to put that on there. If you real behind, you understand what I'm talking about? I ain't say be no fool now. Now, the only reason I can put a return address on this because I have an MBA. Somebody say, oh, I got you. I thought you say you don't have a college degree. I don't. MBA stands for mega bank account. So anyhow, join me, man. Don't tell me, well, I don't like her. She got an old man, or she don't need my money, or the children don't look like me. I went to court in the fraternity suit with a friend of mine named Ronnie. And he went to the judge. The judge said, why aren't you paying child support? He said, the babies don't look like me. The judge said, well, feed them till they do. But as men, see, we can't teach our sons to be responsible if they don't see us being responsible, if they don't feel that we care. So don't say, well, I don't have it. Get it. That doesn't let you off the hook. Write down the next R. And that is not only responsibility, but be resourceful. A lot of men, I don't have it. I had it, I'll give it. If the women had that kind of attitude, the children would starve to death. The reason that they eat, the reason that they have some place to stay and to lay their heads and have clothes on their backs, because the women decide, I'm going to make it happen no matter what, and they're resourceful. My mama raised 7 without a man. She cooked. She cleaned houses. Here's something else that will cause you to reach your goals when you leave here. Write this down. Reasons, compelling reasons. While you're here, when you make this covenant with God, when you decide to live like a conqueror, when you decide to become more successful, to create wealth, to be a change agent in your community, what is it that can keep you on the straight and narrow, that will cause you to keep your commitment to your commitment? I used to do door-to-door sales with a man named Sam Axelrod. Sam Axelrod was intrigued by me because when he came to pick me up, he didn't have to blow his horn. I was downstairs waiting for Sam when he came around the corner. And unlike the men that work with him and other young people, when it got dark and Sam blew the horn, everybody ran to the station wagon. And they would do a head count. And they'd say, who's here? So everybody's here except Les. And they say, hey, Les, come on. No, I'm not coming, Sam. Why? I haven't sold anything. No one's sold anything, Les. It's a long run from Liberty City to Overtown. You got to pass the 20th Street Sharks and the 14th Street Gang.
The jitneys will stop running soon. I can't stop, Sam, until I sell something. See, my reason for going door to door is different than everybody else. Most people out there are trying to make some extra money to party on the weekend, or to buy a new outfit or a new bicycle. The reason that I was working was to take care of my mama. The reason that I was working is because I was working on Miami Beach with my mother. And she was working for a family called the Sidursky family. And one day when I was outside raking the yard, I came in, and my mother was on the floor, on her knees, cleaning up some grease spots that Mrs. Sidursky had spilt some grease. My mother was 56 at the time. She adopted us when she was 40. And I came in, my mother had arthritis in her knees. And I could hear her moaning at different times when she moved on her knees on this hard linoleum floor. And I said, Mrs. Sidursky, can I do that for my mother and you can have her do something else? She said, if it's all right with Mamie. And my mother said, no, son, that's all right. I said, no, Mama, it's not all right. I don't want you on your knees, Mama. Please let me do it, baby. And I helped my mother up. And Mrs. Sidursky said, Mamie, go in the other room and find that hat I was looking for earlier. And my mother went in the other room, and I heard her clapping her hands. I said, Mama. She said, what, boy? I said, baby, why are you clapping your hands? She said, don't worry, just keep on doing what you're doing. Then after a while, Mrs. Sidursky said, Mamie, maybe it's in the other room. Go look in there. Mama went in the other room, and sure enough, she started clapping her hands again, Bishop. I said, Mama, why are you clapping your hands? She said, didn't I tell you to pay attention to what you're doing? Then at that moment, Mrs. Sidursky came over. She said, I can tell you why she's clapping her hands. I said, why, ma'am? She said, well, because when I have domestic workers looking for something and they're out of my view, I make them clap their hands to make sure that they're not stealing. I put the scrub brush down and I stood up. I said, excuse me, Mrs. Sidursky. I don't mean any disrespect, ma'am. My mother raised us to say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. But my mother's a Christian. She would never steal from you or anyone. When my mama talk about your children, when she talks to her friends, she say, my children, the Sidursky children. She loves you and your husband and your children. She would never steal from you. And she just walked away. Later that evening, when we were riding across the Venetian Causeway, I was very quiet. And my mother noticed it. I was not my bubbly self. She said, what's wrong, son? I said, Mama, I wish I was a man. She said, boy, you're 16 years old. You'll be a man soon enough. I said, no, Mama. I want to be a man now, because if I was a man, right now, we would never have to wear somebody else's hand-me-down clothes that their children no longer want. I'll be able to buy clothes for my brothers and sisters and you. If I was a man, we would never have to eat anybody's leftover food that you cooked for, because I'll be able to buy us groceries if I was a man. If I was a man, Mama, no one would ever have you on your knees cleaning up grease that they spilled. And nobody would ever make you clap your hands because they think that you're stealing. If I was a man, Mama, I'll take care of you. She said, Mrs. Sidursky told you that, didn't she? I said, yes, ma'am. So if I was a man, you would never cook for anybody but me. My mama used to fix a kind of sweet potato pie that you couldn't eat with your shoes on. You had to take your shoes off so you can wiggle your toes. And when we would go door to door, sometimes as late as 10 o'clock at night, I would knock on the door. Who's there? Would you like to buy a nice working television set? No money down? Boy, are you crazy? Yes, I am crazy. I'm crazy about my mama, and I'm going to take care of her. And I'm going to sell a television set tonight, and it might as well be you. And after a while, now somebody will say, come on in there, boy, and that better be a good set. What are the reasons? Write down while you're here at this Manpower Conference. Write down 5 compelling reasons of why you're going to keep your commitment to change your life. Keep your commitment never to go back to the life that you once lived. Keep your commitment to creating wealth for yourself, to taking care of your children, to be more responsible, to manifest Christ in you, in your life, in your community. Keep your commitment to live a life of contribution, to keep your commitment to be a conqueror and to act like it and to have authority and dominion over everything in your life. What are those reasons? I got on one of my tapes, if life knocked you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. Your reasons will help you to get back up again. They'll be your rod and staff to comfort you. So you got to write down 5 reasons. And everything that Bishop is saying, and Bishop Merritt, and all the different speakers, and the relationship seminar that Brother Lewis Greenup will do, how you will incorporate the principles from this Manpower Conference in your life and live them and manifest them and support them.